What's up, people? I'm one of your hosts, Phoenix.
And I am your other host, Titan.
And welcome to NTAT. All right, so Starfield is 2 months away, and we're super excited about this game, right?
Oh, yeah, you know it.
So today we want to kind of break down why we think that Starfield is going to be Game of the Year, or at least push really hard for Game of the Year. We're going to kind of break this down into 3 sections. Our first section, we're going to talk about why we're excited about the game. The second part, we're going to talk about our concerns. You're actually going to talk about what we're concerned about and what the community is concerned about. And then I'll kind of play devil's advocate. Right. And then the third, we're going to talk about why we think this game sets itself apart and why it's going to make a hard push for Game of the Year. Hey guys, don't forget, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and please comment at the bottom.
All right, dude, I am really looking forward to jumping into Starfield. This game has honestly, I can't get it out of my head at all. I'm like a kid waiting for Christmas right now. But what I'm really looking forward to is the vastness of the universe. There is so much to discover and interactions to be held. I am ready to see the theme of the universe, you know? How are the people? How are the animals and the creatures? And how will different places affect the different types of people?
Right.
I think that'll be really cool. But if you know me, you know that I'm excited to see the base building aspect. I love base building, and we already know that the ship customization is going to be top tier. So I'm just really hoping that the base building is just as immersive and personalized as the ship building. With the ability to have an overhead point of view while building, I have a lot of expectations just from that one feature.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the best part about that is that they have experience with this from Fallout 4, which had a robust, fort building. Yeah. So they should be able to add on to that. So for me, I think that Starfield, or rather Bethesda Studio games, when these games come out, the rest of the gaming world stops. These games are unlike anything else on the market. Just like I said in one of our previous videos with Grand Theft Auto, when that game comes out, there's nothing on the market like it. Everything shuts down. People are jumping on this game and they're spending years, if not decades, playing the game. In Skyrim's case, 2 decades, as this game is over 20 years old and people are still playing it. These games have something that no other game has, and that's the ability to role play within their world however you want. And the reason for this is because of their design choices. Part of it is because how you level up. In most RPGs, you level up via fighting enemies or quest. And because of that, no matter what you decide to do, you kind of have to go back or pivot back to one of those 2 items. When it comes to Bethesda games, that's not the case. Yeah. When you build out your character, you level up based on the things that you do. So if you decide, you know what, I'm playing Skyrim and I want to be a farmer and all I want to do is go spelunking and farm, you can do that. Oh yeah. There were players that would have their character wake up in the morning, go to a dungeon, steal some stuff, sell it, plant a garden, harvest the garden, sell it, go to the tavern, pay the guy or the bard to play some music, have a drink, and go home to their wife and kids. I thought that was outstanding. Oh yeah. And that's thousands of hours in and never touched the main story. And that's something that you can't do in any other game because, like I said before, at some point you have to pivot back to those items that allow you to progress. In Bethesda games, however you build your character, that's what levels you out, and that allows you to role play however you want to play. One of the other things that I love is that the world is open. And not just open as in, oh, this is a wide open space. I mean, it is a living, breathing place. Quick story, in Fallout 4, when I first discovered that these things actually occurred, I was passing a merchant on the road. And it's one of those merchants that have the cows that have the 2 heads. Yeah. And so I stopped and he had an item that I wanted, but I was on the way to a mission. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bypass him. I'll come back. I know where he is. He's on this road. He's heading this way. So I bypassed him. I went and did the mission. On my way back, there was a death claw. And death claws are one of the hardest enemies in the game. And so I kind of watched him and let him kind of go past me. And I went around. And so I'm heading back and on the same road. And I find the merchant dead on the ground along with his cow in pieces. And I'm looking, I'm like, what in the world happened? And I go, oh, he ran into the death claw. Now, this is something that happened off screen. I wasn't there for it.
Yep.
But that's what Bethesda games do. Whether you're there or not, there are things happening in the world. And sometimes you stumble across it and you're like, what happened here?
Yeah.
And I was actually able to go into his inventory and get that item. Now, he didn't have all the items that he had the first time, but he did have the one item that I wanted. And that's another thing. If you can see it, you can interact with it. And that's something that other RPGs do not do. Which is why if I play, say, The Witcher, which is a fantastic game, if I go to a merchant, the only way I can interact with his wares is by going into a menu, buying it, and leaving. That's it. I can't do anything else with it. In Skyrim or Fallout, any of these games, in Bethesda Studio games, I can go, I can't afford this right now, I'll pickpocket him. Or I can kill him and take it. Or lots of times if you're in the shop, some of those wares are kind of sitting around on display. And you can interact with them. These are things that you normally can't do in other games.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to our concerns and some of the criticisms that the game has garnered already. And I'll let you take this.
All right. So really the main concern that pretty much everyone has right off the bat is definitely going to be performance. How will this game perform? We already know that on Xbox it's capped at 30 FPS. And to some, this might not be an issue whatsoever, but to some more hardcore gamers or people that's really into specs, this is going to be a heavy limit. But most games that have been released in the last several years, actually, have had really rough launches due to major performance issues. Redfall, Jedi Survivor, Elden Ring for PC. With all these persistent issues in the gaming industry, I do expect some bugs, glitches, and performance issues. But I really do hope that they do their due diligence and make sure that the game is fully optimized at launch.
That is a very valid criticism. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate, but first I want to say that is something that we definitely need to be looking forward to. Another high-profile game that just released, Final Fantasy 16, had a lot of trouble hitting 60 frames per second, a lot of persistent issues, and actually had been shutting down PlayStations. It seems to be that the bigger and more adept these games are getting, the harder it is for them to perform at the level that we're expecting.
Yeah.
Now, with Bethesda games, Bethesda Studio games specifically, they have always had an issue with major glitches. Every single one that's come out, it's taken months, if not years, to kind of get it to a solid place. And lots of times that comes with modders coming in and actually fixing the game for Bethesda.
Yeah.
Now, where I want to play devil's advocate is the fact that Bethesda games, again, their physics and how they work is completely different than the other games. I remember with, let's talk about Witcher 3, which is a fantastic game. It also had some glitches and stuff when it came out. But the world works in a very streamlined manner, right? You go out into the world and you interact with it in the way that the devs expect it to interact. You have your scripted scenes, your scripted parts, you have enemies that are going to be in certain places. This is how it works.
Yeah.
With Bethesda games, as I said before, this is the living, breathing world. The NPCs are actually doing things without you being present.
Oh, yeah.
And when you have a system that way, there's no telling what's going to happen. That's why we've had so many crazy stories that are completely different to someone else. You could be in the middle of town, just kind of walking around, and all of a sudden, there's a bandit that happened to walk past that town and decide to walk in and rob someone, and now you've got the guards killing them in front of you, and you're like, what happened? And I could go, hey, Titan, this is what happened in my game, and you're like, oh, that never happened in mine.
Yep.
And so when you have things like that, it's so much code, so many options, so many things that could happen, then more likely something's going to happen.
Oh yeah, and I believe that there are, with Skyrim specifically, there's even YouTube channels dedicated to showing the funny glitches that happen in that game.
Yes.
So I really don't hope that Starfield has those issues, but it would be kind of funny to see in the long run.
Oh yeah, well, Bethesda Studio Games has always had two classifications of glitches. The funny glitches, as you just mentioned, something like a mammoth walking in the clouds, or death animations. But then you have the not so funny ones, and those are the ones where you have a mission or a quest that completely locked out or glitched out. You lose a save file, lose hundreds of hours.
Yep.
These aren't cool, these aren't funny, and I really hope that they do, as you said, their due diligence and reduce it as much as possible. Our next section, we're going to talk about why Starfield has a great chance to push or win Game of the Year. And it's the same reason why Elden Ring had a great chance and won the previous year. And it's because it's something different.
Yep.
As we've seen, we've had a lot of games in the past 10 years that seem to be the same thing over and over and over again. And this is why, again, we talk about certain games, and I'll keep mentioning it. Grand Theft Auto it's unlike anything else. There's no copycat that comes close to it.
Yep.
It's the same thing with Bethesda Studio games. Starfield is going to be something that's out there on its own. Now, yes, people are going to say that this is Skyrim in space, and they're going to say this is No Man's Sky with RPG elements. But that is far from what this game actually is going to be. If you are a Bethesda Studio fan, if you are someone who's played Skyrim, if you played Oblivion, if you played the Fallout series, then you know that the depths that this goes is unlike anything else. And this is something that we're dying for. This is something that we just do not have.
Things that I believe that's going to set this apart, and I hate using this cliche comparison, but I'm going to compare it to No Man's Sky, because the universe is limitless, but at the cost of having no diversity in the game. After exploring hundreds of solar systems, it all felt like it was the same. I believe this game is going to be majorly different because it's going to have thousands of systems to explore, but I believe they're all going to be diverse and truly unique. I don't think you're going to find many NPCs that are exact copies or personalities. This will be something that you can get to know different people and have unique interactions and find people that you hate and some that you absolutely love. And even from the trailer, depending on how you feel about someone, you might be able to just take out the garbage.
Very true.
Alright folks, that wraps up this video, so expect some more Starfield content coming up. Don't forget to like and subscribe and join us every Friday morning. We'll be there, so you be there.